What's going on, everyone? We're going to be breaking down the incredible, phenomenal fight night with just incredible skill that is Prates versus Magny. Who is DMing me right now? Hold on. So, today, let's just go through it. Mullins, Segula. To be honest, I don't know either. Segula's new to UFC, does have a photo, got signed recently. I haven't gone back and even decided to just look at what she has to offer, and I'm not. I'm just gonna go with Melissa Mullins. Moving on. Tresean Gore versus Antonio Trocoli. See, this is hard to pick. And it's not because it's like, wow, two high-level guys. It's hard to pick because they both have something that just makes them look like complete dog shit. Tresean Gore got knocked out by Cody Brundage. That's bad. And Antonio Trocoli just doesn't fucking move. He fucking stands there and just prays to God that something he does works. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna be straight. I'm picking Tresean Gore. Yeah, he got knocked out by Cody Brundage, but Cody Brundage just has the ability to just win a fight if he just decides to lock the fuck in and not quit. If Cody Brundage decides to not quit, he can win a fight. He can just win a fight. Trockley, I just don't think has that. Tresean Gore actually has some pretty decent striking. I think at least. He he's been out for a long time though, but Trockley's coming off a fight with Shara where he just got his fucking ass whooped for like 13 minutes. And Gore is at least coming off a win, even though it's over Josh Fremd, and Josh Fremd is just shit. But I think Tresean Gore is genuinely just better than Antonio Tricoli, and that's not to say Tresean Gore is good. It's just Antonio Tricoli is just so bad. It's just I just can't find a reason to pick him. I can at least find a reason to pick Tresean Gore. Like, hey, he has a knockout over Gilbert Urbina, and he showed off some decent striking in that fight, and he submitted Josh Fremd. Antonio Trocoli just doesn't fucking know how to move like a normal fucking human being. So I can't pick him. I can't pick him. Oh, hey, they liked my story. That's a unique thing that's the first. That's a first for me. Next up, Cody Stamann versus Damon Blackshear. This one, I think is a really nice matchup. I'm gonna go with Damon Blackshear. Now, I think the thing that makes me worried to pick him is that Blackshear just got knocked out cold by Montel Jackson back in June, I believe. I know it was on Nama Yunus versus Cortez. I can't remember. I think it was June. Uh, I picked Blackshear in that matchup because I thought Blackshear would be able to just manage. I picked him because if you look at how Damon Blackshear looked against Mario Batista, where he whooped his ass for 2 rounds, got held down in the third, and the judges robbed him of victory. I don't care what you say, Damon Blackshear won that fight, and I'll stand by that till the day I die. Mario Batista's kind of on a good run, even though Mario Batista's gotten robberies and against Blackshear and Aldo, and he's kind of overrated as fuck, and he's shit, and I hope he gets hit by a truck. Uh, Damon Blackshear and Jose Aldo's son, they both parent him together. Damon Blackshear is actually really good. The thing is, Montel Jackson, I think we are now starting to realize that. I mean, he is pretty pinpoint accurate, and the dude's starting. He's gone from someone who doesn't really finish a fight to he's now like consistent. Damon Blackshear is now consistently like finishing high level opponents, and he's starting to like really establish himself. So I think that loss isn't terrible, but Cody Stamann, he's not terrible either. It's just Damon Blackshear got caught by someone who was really tall, had a big frame, long reach, and crazy power in those straight shots. Cody Stamann doesn't have that. Cody Stamann is short. He's stocky. He has a fucking monumental reach disadvantage. And the truth is, he's starting to, you know, I think he's just a bit I think he's washed. I mean, he had a fight against Douglas Silva de Andrade where he showed he could clearly just win the fight, and he just chose not to win. He chose to not do anything against Taylor Lapilus. Lapilus, who had this reach, was able to just jab and beat him up on the outside. And I don't think Cody Stamann's going to be able to use like wrestling or combinations to get in on the inside and wrestle Damon Blackshear because Damon Blackshear has a really good ground game. Damon Blackshear, I think, does have a genuinely good ground game. I mean, he almost submitted Farid Basharat. If there was like 20 more seconds left in that fight, I think he would have submitted Farid Basharat. So it's just hard to pick him right now. It's hard to pick Stamann, because I do like Damon Blackshear a lot. It's worrisome to pick him right now because he got knocked out, but I just think he's a shit ton better. So I'm going with Damon Blackshear. Also, if he loses, he's probably gonna get cut, and I'm gonna really fucking hate that because he does have a lot of potential, and he is really young. He's only 30, which is shocking. But yeah, Matthew Semmelsberger versus Charles Radtke. I'm gonna go with Radtke. You know what? Charles Radtke took some pretty gnarly and clean shots off of Carlos Prates, and I value it. He was honestly looking pretty good and competitive with Carlos Prates. I value that. He was eating some shots. He ate a clean, full extension, full like turn of the hips, straight right from Carlos Prates, and he tanked it. And then he took a mean knee to the body and he fucking crumbled afterwards. But I mean, I don't even blame him, dude. He he was able to get up after that. I would be sitting there pissing blood, like at the moment of impact. And you know what? I like Charles Radtke striking. I think he actually has really good boxing. And I don't think Semmelsberger is the level of striking and just devastating power that Carlos Prates is. And I'm gonna pick Matthew Semmelsberger. I think he's gonna be able to. Oh, not Matthew Semmels. I'm picking Charles Radtke because I think he's a better. I think he has better striking. Uh, I think he has a really good jab. He does good at getting an opponent on the fence, and he does have some nasty. He does have some pretty decent power. I mean, we know Gilbert Urbina is just fucking allergic to left hooks, but I mean, he put him out bad with just a short, tiny hook that he just uncorked, like barely turned his hips into it. It was mostly from the shoulder, and it was just so pinpoint accurate and powerful that it whipped Urbina's head around. And we've seen Matthew Semmelsberger get dropped and hurt. We see him. He got knocked out by what's his face? Eros Medic, fucking goat of the division. Eros Medic. I fuck with Eros Medic so heavy. But we've seen Radtke. We've seen Semmelsberger, get knocked out with just shots to the head. Radtke, we saw it happen with a shot to the body. It's just kind of different. It's hard to trust hard to trust uh Summelsberger at this point. I mean, he's coming off three in a row, lost. Like three losses in a row is bad. One was a robbery, but still. And Radtke, while he is coming off a loss as well, he's coming off a loss with from over Prates. And you know what? Radtke trains with high levels dudes. He trains with guys like Bahamundes, and he trains with Bilal Muhammad. He trains with really good fucking guys. So I'm gonna go with Charles Radtke. I think he has a better team around him. I think he has better skills, and I think, you know, momentum wise, neither of them have very much momentum, but Charles Radtke, like Semmelsberger, is like on a really bad streak, and it's just hard to trust him right now. I'm going with Charles Radtke. Next up, Elizao Zaleski dos Santos versus Zach Scrogan. I'm going with Zaleski dos Santos. Now, the thing about this is like I'm kind of worried because Scrogan is really tall, and we've seen Dos Santos just not do the greatest against taller opponents. Are able to keep him on the outside, but his reach isn't as much. And I looked at Zach Scrogan's records, and all of his opponents were like it was like 6-5, 5-4. I think one of them was like 9-17, 0-0. He beat like a 19-14 guy, and that was like his best win besides like debuting fighters up until 3-0. He's going from complete bums to Zaleski dos Santos. And, dos Santos is older. He's 37. He's still way more experienced and way better than any level of competition Zach Scrogan has faced. So there's no reason to not pick Zaleski dos Santos. I mean, I haven't looked at any of Zach Scrogan's fights, but even if he is looking good, he's looking good against far lower level of competition than what Dos Santos is. And Dos Santos is a fighter who's hovering right around, and right outside of the top 15 area. So, Zaleski Dos Santos. There's no reason to pick Zach Scrogan. If you do, you're just trying to lose money. And you know what? I get it. Sometimes people want to. Next up, Gaston Bolanos versus Cortavius Romeus. I'm going with Cortavius. No, I'm going with Gaston Bolanos. Cortavius Romeus isn't terrible, but he's so small is the thing. He's 5'4" at bantamweight. The only other guy we've seen that was 5'4" at bantamweight, or the only other guy that's 5'4" at bantamweight that I really even know of is Henry Cejudo. And Henry Cejudo at least has like proven himself against super high level competition. Octavius Romeus went to like a lackluster decision on the Contender Series. And Gaston Bolaños, sure, he has some losses on his record. He got knocked out in his last fight, but Marcus McGee is actually really good. And Bolaños he looked actually like terrible in that fight, but McGee is very good. And I honestly think that, you know, Bolaños versus Romeus, it's Bolaños does look like a more he is just looks like a more polished striker, and he's got a bit of a reach advantage. He's been out for long enough after a knockout like he had that it I'm not terribly worried about him coming back. So it's like Damon Blackshear got knocked out. Like he got knocked out like 4 or 5 months before Blackshear got knocked out. And he's now coming back on the same date. I mean, he's had a good amount of time to recover. I'm gonna go with Gaston Bolaños, probably by decision. I think he's probably gonna point fest his way to this. Next up, Denise Gomes versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. I'm going with Denise Gomes. She is literally just a man. Like, dude, if you see the way this woman be hitting bitches, she hits these bitches, they fucking crumble. I like, you know what? I kind of fuck with Karolina Kowalkiewicz because I fuck with being able to, go on like a 5-fight losing streak, somehow staying in the UFC, despite Matheus Nicolau going on a 3-fight losing streak, getting cut. Alexander Romanov wins and gets cut. Fucking who else? Like, but I respect the fact that she's able to bring it back and go on like a 4 or 5 fight win streak. But the momentum is different. Denise Gomes is coming off of a win over Eduardo Mora, who was giant, misses weight every fight, and was undefeated. And Karolina Kowalkiewicz was coming off a win over, or she's coming off a loss over Yasmin Lucindo. Denise Gomes is just a man. I think she's gonna knock her out in the first round. Okay, because Denise Gomes, if a women's if it's a women's MMA fighter where you're excited to see her versus someone where you're not too excited to see them fight, the one who you're excited to see fight is most likely gonna win. Next up, Mansur Abdul Malik versus Dusko Todorovic. I'm going with Mansur Abdul Malik. Now, here's the thing: if you look at how he looks right here, he looks kind of like just fat middleweight, kind of like a skin, like kind of like a kind of a bit of a fat middleweight. I kid you not. When I saw this man walk out for his Contender Series fight, this fucker looked gigantic. This motherfucker's back was so unbelievably strong. It's just massive. Hold on. Mansur Abdul Malik back. I need to look at it. I'm not showing you guys because I don't give a shit. I need to see this fucker's back. Like, I don't know what it is about this photo they have for him, but it's doing him zero justice. Like, I'm so serious. When I saw this man's back, like, let me see. Dude, his back muscles are like folding over his lower back. Like, his lats, like, you could like, if you wanted a visual representation of, like, how big and how much space the lats take up on someone's back, look at his back. It's fucking insane. The guy's got good wrestling accolades to him. He's knocked out every opponent he's faced, and Dusko Todorovic has been out for a long time, and he's coming up again. He's going against someone who's got heavy hands and is just a real killer. A real killer. I'm going with Mansur Abdul Malik. I think he's gonna fuck him up. I think he's gonna fuck Todorovic up. I don't think he's gonna be like a knockout on the feet. I think he's gonna take him down, and I think he's just gonna beat the shit out of him, and he's gonna put him away on the ground. Because Mansur Abdul Malik, I think he does. I think he was a D1 college wrestler, so he has a good wrestling background. Going with Mansur Abdul Malik. Next up, Luana Pinheiro versus Jillian Robertson. I'm going with Jillian Robertson. Speaking of Matheus Nicolau, this is his wife. Sucks for them, man. Really does. They went from being a power couple to now probably both. If Pinheiro loses this, they're probably both gonna get cut. Jillian Robertson beats the shit out of people on the ground. I think she's actually pretty good. Like, dude, when she takes people down, she actually does shit. And she fucking whoops ass on the ground. I think Jillian Robertson's probably going to submit Luana Pinheiro in, like, the second round. I'm taking Jillian Robertson. Sucks for the Nicolau family. They're probably both getting cut. Went from on top of the world to literally getting cut as the number 10 flyweight in the world. Sucks. It is what it is. Next up, Ricky Turcios versus Bernardo Sopaj. See, Bernardo Sopaj is kind of in like a Gaston Bolanos type situation, but it's a bit different because Bolanos he got TKO'd and he took a good amount. He took a lot of damage, but it wasn't like it was kind of like a fucking like oh stop it oh thank God. Bernardo Sopaj got he he's a Vinicius Oliveira victim. He is a Vinicius Oliveira victim. I mean, he was doing really well against him though. The first and second round, he was, kind of for the entire first round and like 3 minutes of the second round, Sopaj was beating the shit out of Vinicius Oliveira, almost finished him, and then Oliveira just decided, oh wait, I can win. Turn it around. For the next 2 minutes, just was in a constant state of of almost finishing Sopaj. And then in the third, just starts beating the shit out of him on the feet, and then brutally knocks him out with a flying knee. Sopaj is just not. He's. It's hard to. It's hard for me to want to pick him because of that, but he's going against Ricky Turcios, so I'm not worried for his chin whatsoever, and I'm gonna go with him. I think he's really good. I think his striking's pretty solid. He's got great takedowns. He's able to take down Vinicius Oliveira. Ricky Simone could barely get down Vinicius Oliveira, and Sopaj was taking him and holding him down. Picking Bernardo Sopaj. I think he's better. And Tercios, he's just not the most active. He's coming off of a loss after a long layoff. Just going with Bernardo Sopaj is what it is. Next up, Gerald Mearshart versus Rainer de Ritter. Unironically, a tricky one. I'm gonna go with Rainer de Ritter because I think he's just gonna be physically bigger and stronger. I'm gonna go with him, but it's not like a confident like go with him. I'm gonna go with him based off just accolade, basically. I mean, one is never gonna be as good as the UFC in terms of competition and just overall level of fighter. However, Randy de Ritter was a double champ, and yeah, he did kind of get knocked the fuck out twice by Anatoly Malikin, who was just not that great. But I do think if I were to pick between Anatoly Malikin and Gerald Mearshart, I'd put the house on Anatoly Malikin. I just think I just think Rainer de Ritter just younger. I'm just gonna go with him. It's hard for me to pick, but is what it is. Next up, Miles John versus Cody Garbrandt. I'm gonna go with Cody Garbrandt. The thing about Miles John, people think that Cody Garbrandt is somehow worse than he was that when he fought Dominic Cruz, but that same guy was the one who, in the rematch with Dillashaw, ran into the same right hand 3 times. Like, I'm not even kidding. He tried to throw a big like looping hook, ate a straight right, tried to throw a big looping hook immediately after, ate another straight right, and then tried to do it a third time, and then that's what got him knocked out in the first fight. This Cody Garbrandt's a lot more skill. I think he's a lot more composed. He's not as wild. His footwork is nice. I think he's really upped his defense. He doesn't, I don't see him getting hit that much. I mean, he was kind of beating he was kind of like whooping up Figueiredo on the feet in the first round before he got taken down and figured out that he has absolutely zero submission defense somehow. Don't know how we didn't figure that one out. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna go with Cody Garbrandt, Miles Johns. He does have the ability to knock someone out, but he's so slow. Like he's just slow. He's a real like wrestle heavy guy, and I think Cody Garbrandt does actually have pretty good cardio. Actually, no, he does have really good cardio. And Miles Johns just throws these big looping shots. He's very slow. His game plan is always, let's wrestle and take someone down. I don't think he's going to be able. I think he can get Cody Garbrandt down, but he's not going to pose the same threat that Davison Figueiredo would pose on the ground. I think Garbrandt's better on the feet. We've seen Miles Johns get knocked out, I'm pretty sure. Let me check really quick. Have we? Have we seen him? Hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. Let's make sure. I just need to make sure that I'm right on this. Yeah, he's been knocked out. Who knocked him out? Mario Batista knocked him out. You're a Mario Batista victim? I'm never picking you. Sorry, you can't get me to pick a Mario Batista victim. You can't get me to pick a Mario Batista victim. I think Cody Garbrandt's better on the feet. He's better all around. I'm going with Cody Garbrandt to beat Miles Johns. Sorry, not sorry. Miles Johns is slow. I don't know how Douglas Silva de Andrade lost to him. But Cody Garbrandt, I think he's going to be the one to beat. I think he's going to be able to beat him. And I think it'll put Cody Garbrandt back on track to regaining that bantamweight title that he so rightly deserves. Next up, Neil Magny versus Carlos Prates. Neil Magny, for me, it's the same as Blackshire Stamann, except worse. Because Damon, when let me check when. That is not what I wanted to click on. I'm looking at my phone right quick. In August, he got knocked out in the first round by Marlon Moraes, and he took some big shots. He got rocked bad. And now he's gonna face Carlos Prates, who's on a hot streak right now. Prates has some Prates has some nasty KOs. He's got nasty power. He's real slick on the feet. He's sharp. He's accurate. This is not a good fight for Neil Magny. I think he's gonna get chinned. I think Magny's. I'm picking Carlos Prates by second round. Brutal. Now, I think it's gonna be worse than Li Jingling. Because the thing about Li Jingling is people are always gonna say, "Oh, but he had a spine injury, so his chin wasn't the same." Shut the fuck up. It's the brain. It's the brain. And he took literally like 2 years off. I guarantee you, he wouldn't have come back if he wasn't fully recovered. His brain was fresh. Sure, he had rust, but that's it. And he put out Li Jingling, he has a pretty good chin, never been knocked out before, and he put him out brutally. And Neil Magny's just got knocked out kind of bad, like literally 3 months ago. I like Neil Magny, man. It's gonna suck to see him finally be outside of the rankings, but Carlos Prates is gonna put him out bad. It's going to be fucking brutal. Second round brutal TKO for Prates. Let me know what you guys think. comment, like, I don't care. Goodbye.